Well, my book is called Black Vignettes, Essays in African American History and Culture. It's a book of about 300 essays that deal with people, places, events in black history. But I was a United States history major, so I do not divorce black history from the overall context of United States history. I think it gets confusing that way. So if we're going to talk about the Great Depression, then we need to talk about the great migration of blacks out of the rural South into the industrialized North. If you're going to talk about Thomas Jefferson and the Corps of Discovery, the Louisiana Purchase, then you need to mention York, who was a body slave who was on that expedition, and he was a full participant. So we need to actually be inclusive in United States history with all of those who've actually made history. I think the message is conveyed very well in the book because in the book you'll find the usual suspects. I love Booker T. Washington and George Washington Carver, but that's not all that there is. And there's so many things in there that people didn't know about. There was Titus, a runaway slave during the Revolutionary War era. He didn't fight for George Washington and the Americans, he fought for the British. He was a runaway slave, and he was really in pursuit of his own personal freedom. And he did that by joining with the British and becoming a guerrilla fighter. And they called him, his name was Titus, but they called him Colonel Ty because he was so good at it. And you don't hear about him. Well, first of all, he fought for the British, so the Americans aren't going to talk about him. And I think the British are still smarting about the loss of those 13 North American colonies anyway, so they don't talk much about it at all. But it's a good story, and the book is full of stories like that, something that you've never heard of before. I just really enjoy books. I've always enjoyed them. I know there's now all of these electronic devices. I have to move into the new millennium to understand all of these, but I still like a book. There's nothing like turning a page. There's nothing like holding it in your hand. And I think our kids are kind of missing a little bit because everything now is electronic for them. But that's progress, and any way you can get a book at children, I'm all for it.